ペースコロニースティオス
Why, hello there, everyone. How's it going? My name's GundamGoku. This is Stories from Seoul, the Gundog. I'm super excited to be back doing Let's Plays. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. This is right up my alley. This game is inspired by 1980s and 90s anime and, of course, PC 98 computer games, visual novels. So, super excited to dive into this one. Speaking of, how about we just start? September 21st, Planetary Calendar 209. Following a raft of oppressive policies and crackdowns from the Earth-based government of the Solar Federation, the joint forces of the Martian territories and the Jovian Unified Colony Fleet rebelled. This conflict came to be known as the Solar War. The war carried on for 3 years, but eventually the combined forces of the Martian territories and Jovian Unified Colony Fleet managed to push the Federation military all the way back to planet Earth. In the final days of the conflict, a pitched battle was fought in lunar orbit that would decide the war's victor. Lunar orbit aboard the Jovian carrier JFS Kaluk? You reflectively tighten your grip on your armored frame's twin flight sticks as another wave of vibrations reverberate through the cockpit. The creak of your new flight suit and your quickening breath are the only sounds that you hear above the gentle hum of the frame's subsystems. As you squeeze the controls tighter, their plastic casings creak under the pressure. You try and stay calm, knowing that these gentle vibrations are remnants of a huge shock wave that are buffeting the Kaluk, the carrier that you're stationed on. Each one is a near miss as an explosion tears through the space around the ship. You try to push the thought from your mind and focus on controlling your breathing, but you've already realized that their frequency means the Kaluk must be approaching the front line. Your squadron will be launching soon, and you'll be engaging in your first real sortie. Your first real fight, in fact. Your first real flight, in fact. You feel your throat tighten. Simulations are as good as the real thing. That's what your trainer told you all. But you know that pilots are supposed to have hundreds of hours of live flights and training exercise in real armored frames before they're allowed anywhere near the front line. Of course, that didn't happen. Command had told you that modern simulators meant cadets could graduate without the need of these exercises. You'd overheard the rumors, though. The Jovian Colony Fleet had lost a lot of pilots, and still wanting to keep pace with the Martian advance against Earth, had resorted to fielding anyone who could fight. Your whole squadron is just like you, freshly conscripted from Europa Colony. You'd undergone basic training there, but almost all of your flight training had taken place on the cruiser's journey from Jovian space. You wonder how the others are feeling right now, whether... Kaluk 5, this is the flight deck. We're preparing your squad for takeoff, running last-minute diagnostics on your frame, activating all systems. Activating all systems? Now. Alright. Looks good to go. We'll run a few more checks, then we'll have you spaceborne in a few minutes. Ready to show these Terrans who's boss? Damn straight, ready to kick some ass. Yeah, can't wait to get out there. I'm gonna. You stammer, trying your best to convince not the engineer, but yourself that you're ready for what's waiting for you. Whoa, take a breath there, Kaluk 5. It's not gonna be that bad out. No need to get all riled up here in the hangar. Tell you what, pilot, what's your name? Ooh, I am a GundamGoku. Okay, GundamGoku, what's your surname? Star Bullet. He, him. GundamGoku Star Bullet. Yeah, sure. Okay, Ensign Star Bullet. First up, take a few deep breaths for me. In and out, nice and slow. You got that? You draw in one long, measured breath and hold it, then release it. Following the engineer's instructions, you repeat this a few more times. After a while, you begin to feel your pulse slow and some of the tension in your body slip away. You still feel on edge, but feel slightly more in control. Alright, there we go. Now listen up, Ensign. You ain't got a thing to worry about out there. The way I've heard it is that all the Terran's best pilots were taken care of between here and Mars. I think Martians are the ones who've been leading the charge today, so they're the ones taking all the flack. Propaganda machines selling this as our divisive strike against Earth's last line of defense. But between you and me, it ain't nothing more than a mopping up situation. Buddy of mine in operation said as much in the canteen last night. Besides, you hear a dull ring over the comms and sit bolt upright in your seat, slouching back and exhaling as you realize it's nothing more than the engineering striking the cockpit armor on your frame. This beauty here is a work of art. Terran frames ain't got nothing on her. She's all tuned up and ready to go. Probably spent more time with this one than I have with my own kid. So don't you worry. Remember what they taught you in training and leave the rest up to her, and you'll come out of this just fine. Despite your startled reaction a moment ago, the engineer's confidence is infectious and it's starting to rub off on you. You adjust your position in your seat so that you're sat up straight, and the soft hum of the frame system now seems more comforting than ominous. Just a mopping up operation. Martians have done all the work, so we're sitting pretty here in our top of the line frames. Yeah, nothing to worry about. That's what you say. So, Ensign Star Bullet, how are you feeling about things now? Feeling good, ready to go. Good to go. Hoorah! Yeah, I'm ready to get out there and kick some ass, you declare, channeling your newly tapped well of confidence. That's spirit, Ensign. Now hang on to that, and we'll have you out those hangar doors and kicking Terrans around in no time. Left alone to your thoughts, you tune back into the gentle hum of the frame. You watch the seconds tick away on the cockpit clock whilst you wait for the order to launch. The wait seems to drag on and on. You carry out a few last-minute flight checks, but as you had already completed them when you boarded, nothing has changed. Alright, pilots, listen up. This is Kaluk 1. We've been cleared for launch, so be ready for immediate action. All frames will be taken off in designation order. Attack formation, sound off. Kaluk 2, ready. This is Kaluk 3, ready. Kaluk 4, ready for takeoff. Kaluk 5, confirm your status. Oh yeah, Kaluk 5, standing by. Keep it together, Kaluk 5. Kaluk 6. Kaluk 6, ready. Alright, Kaluk Squadron, move out. Kaluk 1, launching. Kaluk 2, launching. Kaluk 3, launched. Kaluk 4, moving out. I like the design of these mechs. They kind of remind me of like some of the ones from like Gundam Wing. The roll call of your squadron as they depart from the ship and accelerate rapidly towards the combat zone sounds almost like a countdown to you. Once Kaluk 4 has declared their launch, you know your time has come. You disengage the restraints and prepare yourself. Kaluk 5, launching! You shout as you slam the flight sticks forward for maximum thrust. Kaluk 5, abort launch, cut thrusters. Kaluk 5, abort launch, cut thrusters. The engineer's instructions barely register in the confusion as you're jerked around the cockpit, your helmet slamming on the control panel as a brief moment of thrust throws you back into your seat before you're whipped forward again. Warnings flash all over your monitors and sirens, and alerts sound from all over the cockpit. Kaluk 5, abort launch, and cut thrusters. It takes a few seconds for you to comprehend the engineer, but once you do, you quickly pull the flight sticks back to their neutral position. The roar of your frame's engines dies, and your cockpit regains its previous stillness. You wince as the metallic taste of blood fills your mouth. All right, Kaluk 5, hang tight for a moment. Your frame's restraints didn't accept the disengage command, so you're still attached to the Kaluk. We're going to need to run a diagnostic. Shouldn't take too long. Also, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name of the ship right. I don't know if it's Kaluk or Kalike. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm just gonna go with what I've been saying. You slump in the cockpit's chair and exhale deeply. Your heart still pounding a million beats per minute, and your lips stinging. You continue to slow your breathing as you listen to the still open communications channel from the maintenance crew as they work to get your frame released. Hey, yeah, looks like the restraints disengage command didn't register. Yeah, Unit 5. Alright, yeah. Get Unit 6 out. Makes no sense waiting for this one. Okay, start the diagnostics and reboot if necessary. Kaluk 6, launching. I wonder if I could make one of these suits in Gundam Breaker. Probably could. What do you mean hardware fault? We've checked this 10 times since Mars, at least. Who was assigned Unit 5? Oh, 4. Fine, right. Shut down systems and run the diagnostics again. I want this frame out there in the next 5 minutes. Kaluk 5, we're going to shut down your frame systems for a moment, so we can run diagnostics. Stay ready, though. We'll have you launching soon. Kaluk 5, understood. Ready and waiting. Aye, sir. On standby. As your cockpit fades to darkness again, you release the flight sticks and suddenly realize just how long you've been clenching your fist around them. You flex your fingers and roll your shoulders, exhaling again as you begin to hear the muffled sounds of the engineers working on your frame's restraints. Staring at the dead monitor, you slowly begin to smile. This is what you wanted, wasn't it? You'd spent so long worrying about this mission that you'd thrown up twice in the past 24 hours. Now it looks like that was all for nothing. You'd got what you wanted, and you were safe. As safe as you can be, strapped to the outside of a military carrier in an inactive armored frame anyway. Your smile widens inadvertently at that thought. Getting shot down in an inactive frame, still in its restraints. You'd become a cautionary tale for engineers and pilots throughout the entire Jovian colony fleet. Your mind turns quickly to the rest of your squadron. When they return, you'd be the laughingstock of the entire colleague. The pilot who'd spent their entire first mission stuck in a dark cockpit. You dodged a bullet, but you'd never... This is Kaluk 6! They've cut off the flight path. There's more. There's a whole squadron of carriers coming in from E-Field. Kaluk 1, they're going to cut you off from the fleet. Kaluk 6 signal disappearing as you sit bolt upright as you begin pressing buttons trying to activate your cockpit's main monitor so you can see what's going on. However, with your frame system shut down remotely by the maintenance crew, you do nothing but sit in the dark stillness and listen to events unfold. Kaluk 6, respond! Kaluk 6, what's going on? How many carriers are coming in from E-Field? Ma'am, Kaluk 6 signal has been lost. It's not responding. He's... Hold it together, Kaluk 4. All units, form up. defensive formation on me. I said all units. Color 2, don't break formation. Ma'am, they're firing on us. There's so many of them. Oh, God. Oh, God, ma'am, help. In an instant, your communications channel is flooded with cries of terror and panic. You hear your squad mates, your fellow pirates, exclamations of fear as this unexpected enemy force bears down on them. Screams and yelps, wails and howls till your head fill your head as you sit powerless in the dark confines of your cockpit. Hey, who's out there? Engineering, hey, get me ready. I can help. Get me ready to launch. Engineering! They're getting killed out there. I need to go now. You shout demands to get your frame ready for launch over the channel, but are met with no response. In the dark of the cockpit, with your control as unresponsive, you can't be sure whether the channel is closed or if no one's listening. With all attention turned to receiving the battle-damaged units from your squad. Listen to me. Anyone, get me out there. You desperately begin attempting a manual override of your systems but find that nothing responds to you. The only spark of life that you can glean from your frame is the small diagnostics progress bar. I need to be out there. Anyone, hey! In one last desperate attempt, you begin hammering on your cockpit walls, hoping to get the attention of the engineers you could hear outside earlier. The entire time, the chaos of the combat out in space is narrated to you in broken fragments of radio chatter. There's 3, 4. On me! I've lost my shield. I can't shake them. They're everywhere. There! The line of retreat's totally cut off. We can't get back to the ship. Ma'am, what do we do? What do we do? Stop panicking and form up. 3 and 4, on me. We're going to punch a hole through their formation and... Ma'am? Ma'am, come in, ma'am! Oh no. Oh, God. Ah! One by one, your squad signals disappear, and the cacophony of panic disappears, replaced by the gentle hiss of static. You stop hammering on the side of your cockpits. As the last voice is cut off, you're drenched in a cold sweat now, and your empty stomach feels like a rock has sunk to the bottom of it. You lean back and stare blankly ahead. This is Caller 5. Ready for takeoff. September 21st, Planetary Calendar 209. Despite last-minute reinforcements for the Solar Federation from their headquarters on Earth, the battle above Lunar is a victory for the joint Martian and Jovian forces. This would be the final battle of the Solar War. Having lost their last stronghold on Lunar, the Solar Federation would agree to a ceasefire and sign an armistice to end hostilities. An uneasy peace fills the solar system. With the conflict between the Solar Federation and the Martian-Jovian alliance concluded, the Kaluk and her crew soon returned to the Europa colony near Jupiter. April 19th, Planetary Calendar 214. The reduced need for pilots away from the delicate space between Earth and Mars saw Ensign Starbullet reassigned to security detail aboard various Jovian ships. He is eventually promoted to lieutenant. 4 years have passed since the battle above Lunar. The Jovian colony fleet, fearing fresh aggression from Earth, has increased patrols near its colonies after picking up unusual signals coming from further out in the solar system. The patrol ship JFS Gundog is dispatched to support the JFS O'Brien in its investigation of these signals. Jovian space aboard the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. All right. Setting sail. As the rumble of the Gundog's engines roaring to life reverberates through the ship, you clench your fists. It's been 4 years, and to this day, the sensation of tremors, whether they're ship engines, donking clamps, or weapons drills, still ties your stomach into knots. A bad trait for a ship security officer. You shake your head and exhale slowly, taking a moment before stowing the last of your possessions and pushing the drawer closed. You feel the click as it locks into place, and the exterior plastic panels sits completely flush with its surroundings. Stepping back, you look around the room. You take another deep breath and hold it for a moment. Although this was far from your first posting as a security officer, you always felt the same sense of trepidation, if not anxiety. As similar as all the ships were, they all came with their own unique crews and personalities. And with those came unique problems. Breathing out, you take a look around the room, taking stock of your surroundings. Select the Look button to examine your surroundings by selecting items of interest. Select it again when you're done. It's a normal storage unit. I travel light, so mine only has clothes in it. Standard crew's bunk. Once you've slept in one, you've slept in them all. Although this is one of the nicer ones I've been assigned to. The wall panel can be removed by jamming it with a thin object, and crew members often stash contraband there. Looks like this one's not been touched though. It's got books as well. This terminal lets me access the ship's computer. It's got a clock, word processor, and even a calendar. I can also access records and my orders from here. But for anything else, I'd need to access the core, which is limited to those in operations or command. Okay. Anything? Oh, there's the books. This lets me control the room's lighting from the bed. I keep my books here too, currently reading the Tales of the Cosmic Champions series. Sounds like Legends of the Galactic Heroes, yeah. Or Legend of the Galactic Heroes. A standard door with an electronic lock and magnetic bolting system. The only way in or out, unless you plan on getting creative with maintenance tunnels. Select the Use button to interact with your surroundings by selecting specific objects to use them. Okay. Use. Light switch for the rest of the room is here. Should I use it? No. No reason to. Nothing in here. Just my uniform and some toiletries. Oh, looks like I've been instructed to report to the bridge to meet the captain. I haven't met anyone yet since my transport to the spaceport ran late. Since my transport to the spaceport ran late, and I just about made it on board before launch. You step into an empty corridor, and the door to your quarters gently hisses shut behind you. Its keypad gives a short series of beeps, and you hear the lock engage. The dull thrum of the ship's systems is barely audible, but otherwise, you are stood in total silence. The air is cooler outside of your quarters, and the corridor has a sterile lack of aroma. This has been the same on every ship you've been stationed on, and at this point, it doesn't surprise you. Okay, so this is a Swift-class patrol vessel, which means if I leave this quarters block, I'll be in the foreside thoroughfare. If I go right towards the aft, I'll arrive in the central hub, and then I can head to the bridge. Hanson Cruise. Haru Rumney, doesn't sound familiar. Dalton Grange, not someone I've met before. Dylan Dees, can't say I've run into them on any other ship. Alright, let's go to the Foresight thoroughfare. Leave the crew block behind you and find yourself in a much larger corridor that stretches off to your left, and with multiple smaller corridors leading from it. To your right, the corridor leads to a large plaza-like space. A very faint breeze coming from your left ruffles your hair and chills you slightly, and you hear the sounds of human activity. From the right, you can hear the hum of the ship's engines more clearly now, as well as the occasional low, quiet, whirring sound. Looks like I was right. This portion of the thoroughfare will let me access both sets of crew quarters. the mess hall, the hangar, and the central hub. From there, I can access the rest of the ship's areas. I should hurry to meet the captain before I look around anywhere else. All right. Let's go talk to the... Should head to the bridge. As you enter the central hub, you hear a low whirring noise and the engines grow louder. You can see the readouts above one of the elevators change, letting you know someone is using it to travel to another part of the ship. Looking around, you see the entrances to both the fore and aft side thoroughfares, as well as the corridor to the airlocks. These elevators will take me to the bridge where the captain will be. I shouldn't waste any more time. Off to the bridge. Knowing that you need to report to the captain, who, at this point of the ship's journey, should be stationed on the bridge, you make your way towards the elevators and press the call button. You step back and watch the indicators above each elevator, waiting for one to arrive. As you wait, your mind begins to wander and you're caught unaware as you feel something suddenly jab into your back, and a voice from behind you declares, "Hands in the air! Identify yourself!" Your posture stiffens as you snap back to reality, caught completely off guard by the voice behind you. Thoughts race through your mind as you try to figure out what's going on. Could there already be another security detail on board? That shouldn't be possible. As far as you knew, you were the only one, unless... I said, "Hands in the air, punk." You tentatively raise your hands, palms flat and facing forwards, as whatever has been thrust into the small of your back is removed slowly, and you hear the person behind you take a step backwards. You exhale and begin to turn around. Lieutenant Starbullet, security detail, ID S0254JFSG. I'm on my way to meet the captain too. Where you'd been expecting a gruff crew member, instead you're met with a bright and cheery officer waving a pen around with a large smile on her face. You're taken aback for a moment, as this isn't just any officer. This is... Cassie, what are you... GundamGoku, I've missed you so much. It's our girlfriend, guys. You big doofus. You should have seen your face when you turned around. You were all... I love that face you make when you think you're in trouble. It's like you think playing the big soldier will get you out of trouble. It's so cute. Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn. You should have known, really. She's always been one for bad jokes and stupid pranks as long as you've known her. Her less than professional attitude and penchant for irresponsibility is the reason why, despite her talents, she's not commanding a ship of her own. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how good did I get you? You totally thought you were being busted, right? But if you're being honest, her playful nature is what attracted you to her in the first place. You've been dating for nearly 2 years now, but a lot of that has been over electronic mail or letters. Your postings have never lined up until now. Cassie, what are you doing here? I thought you were stationed on the Reliant. You never said you were being transferred. What happened? Well, the thing about that is, you might say that a disagreement with the head of operations on the Reliant led to a lateral trajectory for my career. Cassandra, please. Okay, so maybe it came time to change the ship's cybersecurity passwords. I couldn't be bothered to spend all day sitting in the computer core waiting for it to generate new code, so I just changed all the existing passwords by a single digit. You place your face in your hands as a dull groan rises from the back of your throat. This isn't the first time you've heard a story like this. And maybe it turns out when they run the cybersecurity drills, they assume that the enemy have your old passwords, so try brute forcing from those. And maybe that meant the ship was compromised in 0.5 seconds. But at least they found out I'd done that in a drill and not in a real engagement, right? I've basically saved the entire ship in advance. I'm surprised you're still even stationed on a ship. How are you not stuck back in a records room at Europa Colony right now? Well, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but if I can't trust you, who can I trust? Turns out this mission was organized at really short notice and the Gundog was the only ship available. The problem was that they'd been having issues with the crew, so they had to transfer some in short notice. Lucky for me that I'd so recently been made available. That's weird. I'd only just been stationed on the Duke, so I shouldn't have been free to be transferred. Okay, you figured it out. I may have used one of my contacts from the Academy who works in resources to transfer you here. I'm pretty sure you know every regulation you broke by doing that. Oh, what was I supposed to do? Get stationed on to some tiny ship heading out to the middle of nowhere with no one I know on the crew? Yeah. You're in the military, Cassandra. We haven't seen each other in months. Aren't you glad to see me? Of course I'm glad to see you. I've missed you too, you know. It's been a long time. You don't become part of the Reliance Operations Department without some serious talent. I'm not going anywhere. Oh, you said you were on your way to see the captain, right? Have you had a chance to take a look around the ship yet? No, not yet. I was going to. Great, I'll show you around. I've been here a few days, so I basically know the ship like the back of my hand. Where do you want to go? I was on my way to see the captain. I felt the engines start up, so I know we're launching soon, and I thought that I should probably report in as soon as possible. Oh, don't worry about that. I've already logged you on board, so it's just a formality now. You're going to get the captain mad at me. Besides, Captain Bottermuse. That's a name. Is it Bottermuse? Bartermuse? Isn't exactly a stickler for procedure, so we can check out anywhere you want before we head up there. Well, alright, in that case. Chad, I think she's lying. How much y'all want to bet she's lying and the captain actually cares about punctuality? Great! This is going to be the best tour you've ever been on. This is, he already knows the entire layout of the ship. Remember how he was like, yeah, it's one of the, this is like a standard Swift class cruiser patrol ship. So I know exactly how to get to the bridge because every ship of this class is made exactly the same way. By the time it's over, you'll have seen every inch of this ship and met everyone on board. It's been so long since we last saw each other, too. We definitely need to take time to stop by my quarters and get reacquainted. Oh. You can now access every area of the Gundog. Select the talk button to view a list of who is available to talk to. Okay. Look around the central hub as Cassandra already begins to make her way to your first destination, waving at you to follow. Might be a small ship, you think, but now would be the perfect opportunity to learn its layout and familiarize yourself with where you'll be spending your current duty. Plus, you admit, it won't hurt to meet all the crew. Better to get to know them sooner rather than later. Let's go here first. As the two of you leave the central hub behind you and travel down the aft side thoroughfare, the hum of the engines continues to grow louder. You'd effectively filtered the noise out in the rest of the ship, but as you got closer to the rear, its volume increased considerably. Are the engines supposed to be that loud? Are the what? What? I said, are the engines supposed to be that loud? The what? What? I said, are the engines? I heard you the first time. I'm just messing with you. You could have fooled me. Never been on a ship where the engines are so noticeable. Is it supposed to be like that? Supposed to? No, not really, but the Gundog is a Swift class type of patrol ship that's designed for rapid response. They're made to cover large areas of space quickly and offer basic assistance to ships in distress. That, or to be first on the scene to gather intel and issue warnings if anyone comes too close to Jovian space. Basically, they're quick response vehicles. They're essentially scout ships. They're not meant for they're not meant to be in direct combat. They gather intel, provide like quick medical support for like ships that are like out in space on an SOS signal, that type of thing. They're not meant to be like the lead of a fleet. which means design-wise, they've prioritized speed above everything else. I guess the best way to sum it up is that the Gundog is basically a huge set of engines with a tiny ship strapped to them. Well, that's reassuring. Oh, it's fine. It just means there's no space for systems like motion dampeners or soundproofing. You'll miss it when you leave. Down that corridor is the armory where all the ship's firearms are stored. Normally, access has to be granted from the bridge, but since you're the security officer, you've got access coded into your keycard. Okay. That way leads to the engineering block. From there, you can access the engine room, the main computer, and most of the ship's systems. Although you won't be going anywhere near those systems if the chief has anything to say about it. Okay. Check the armory. Swipe your keycard through the card reader set into the terminal by the armory's door. Instead of the door opening as you would expect, you hear a harsh tone from the terminal. Looking at its screen, you see a message displayed in large flashing letters. Access denied, inefficient authority. Looks like your clearance hasn't been processed yet. You'll have to meet the captain before you can get in that room. Alright. Alright, I guess we'll check out engineering. As the two of you continue through the aft thoroughfare. Thoroughfare? I've never seen this word before, and I'd like to let y'all know I was in the United States Navy. Like I've seen things like aft and you know the general directions on a ship. I've never seen thoroughfare before, honestly. I don't think I've ever heard that before. The thrum of the engines grows louder still. The featureless paneling that has made up the majority of the ship's interior quickly gives way to visible pipes and conduits, and eventually the smooth flooring transitions to grating, revealing more workings underfoot. Also, the pixel art in this game is gorgeous, man. It's so good. Finally, the thoroughfare leads into one huge open chamber filled with masses of machinery. Terminal panels set into the side of various apparatus cycle. Terminal panels set into the side of various apparatus cycle through different readings. The light from the screens reflected off ducts and valves. The light from the screens reflected off ducts and valves. Some of these sentences are a bit hard to read, I'll be honest. All this equipment is separated by a grid of catwalks and access ladders. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is right. This is central engineering. Pretty much every system aside from the engines themselves and the central computer can be found in this room. All in one place? Isn't that a little risky? Well, a Swift-class ship relies on an absolutely minimal crew. The Gundog only has 2 engineers. I think they figured it'd be easier on them if everything that was important was kept in one place. Yeah, kind of like I guess what they're trying to go with is they're kind of trying to go with like a Star Trek type of thing. You know, like how the Enterprise is this long distance exploration vessel, more so than like a scout vessel, as opposed to a warship that would have to like separate all its systems, so if one gets knocked out, they have backups. That way they don't have to run from one end of the ship to another to get all their repairs done if something goes wrong. You certainly know a lot about ship engineering. What can I say? I'm a pretty talented individual. Also, so incredibly humble. Oh yeah? Whilst we're here, you can share some of that knowledge. What's that over there? That's the Polinic conversion unit. And what's that? That's the omnifaceted wand shaft? Uh-huh, what about that? That's the turbo encabulator. Every day is a school day. I'm head of operations, not chief engineer, okay? I don't need to know what... Hey, no one better be screwed around up there. You both jump as a stern voice barks at you from below. Looking down, you see through the grate that there's another catwalk situated below the one you're stood on, with a crew member moving at speed towards the ladder that joins the two walkways. I swear if I find so much as a single terminal read out of place, I'm stuffing the 2U into the organics processing system. If I have to retrieve one more pin from behind the compressors... The crew member continues to grumble as they ascend. Quinn, you better not be here to tell me that your favorite pin has somehow fallen into the system block again. No, Chief. Got it right here. Damn straight you do. Now make sure you hang on to that one, or you're going to need someone to pull you out of the system block instead. Morning, Chief. How are you? And who's this, our wayward security officer? You got a name there? You quickly throw a sharp salute at the woman in front of you without even checking her rank first. Not only does she loom over you physically, but you quickly pick up on a force of personality that feels like it adds an extra 6 inches to her considerable height. Well, considering your girlfriend called her Chief, I would just go assume it's Chief. Oh, she's the chief engineer. But, yeah. Lieutenant Starbullet, security officer for the JFS Gundog. Ma'am! Less of that ma'am business, Starbullet. Name's Mackenzie Cadith. Cadith? Chief engineer, but that's chief to you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, chief. Damn straight. Now, what are the two of you doing in engineering? I was just giving Lieutenant Starbullet a tour of the ship, Chief. That's so. You never been on a ship before, Lieutenant? First assignment? Never on a Swift class, Chief. Only served on Striker supply classes to date. That's so. Which strike vessels? The JFS Victory and JFS Thunderbolt, Chief. Victory and Thunderbolt, huh? Don't think either of those two are less than 3 years old. Probably wouldn't have seen what the new streamlined probably wouldn't have seen what the new streamlined distribution systems. I wonder if you would have seen the power coils, though. I think the Victory is part of that production. You and Cassandra exchange a quick, nervous glance as the Chief, who'd previously seemed like she was about to physically throw both of you out of engineering. Sully begins a conversation with herself. You continue to stand to a nervous attention as she ruminates about ship components. Chief, is there anything I can help you with about those ships? Oh, huh? Lieutenants, didn't realize you were still here. No, you're off the hook, Starbullet. Not unless you could tell me whether the Victory was outfitted with the 3rd generation B-Pack upgrades anyway. Sorry, Chief, don't think I could. Wonder if that's because the retrofitting takes into account space availability in the ship's interior for minimal transversal impact. Although, maybe it could be that it takes... I think now would be a good time for us to move on. Good idea. Well, that's all, Chief. We'll just be going now. Oh yeah, sure. Just don't let me catch you screwing around in here again. Sorry, Chief. Thanks, Chief. Bye, Chief. Alright, as you head away from the central hub, the noise from the engine becomes quieter and the ambient temperature feels noticeably cooler. The thoroughfare stretches out in front of you with doorways leading to other areas of the ship visible in the distance. And here we are in the fortified thoroughfare. I know, I went to my quarters earlier than when I came on board. What'd you just say? Four-side thoroughfare. No, I don't think you did. I 100% said four-side fair. Tricky thing to say. You try saying it quickly. I mean, I've been struggling with thoroughfare too, my dog. Don't worry about it. It's a tricky word for sure. Four-side thoroughfare. Four-side thoroughfare. Four-five thoroughfare. Ha ha! We'll call this one a draw, Lieutenant. Alright, let's do... the mess hall. Ship's hangar. Okay. I guess we'll go to... check the hangar first. Two of you head down the four-side thoroughfare and away from the crew quarters. Cassie stops by a double-sided doorway, runs her keycard through the reader next to it. Watch your step, she instructs, tapping her knuckles on a large warning sign next to the door that reads low gravity zone. Once the door opens, she heads through and you follow her into a side stairwell. It only takes 2 sets of steps before you can feel yourself grow lighter. By the time you reach the doorway at the bottom, you're almost floating. Stepping into the hangar and onto the catwalk, the first thing that strikes you are the profiles of the 2 armored frames stood as if on guard, facing into the main area of the hangar. What interesting designs. The chest piece kind of looks like a Dom, and then the arms are like very, very Gundam looking, like very GM. And the legs are very Gundam as well. Especially that torso. And then the head, of course, looks kind of like a Dom or a GM. Probably a Dom or so. Although you fully expected to see them here, every Jovian ship features at least a few. The sight of the armored frame stirs uncomfortable memories in you. You inadvertently grit your teeth and squeeze the handrail you grabbed tightly. Ma'am, they're firing on us. There's so many of them. Oh God, ma'am, help! The line of retreat's totally cut off. We can't get back to the ship. Ma'am, what do we do? What do we do? Stop panicking and form up. 3 and 4, on me. We're going to punch a hole through their formation and... Hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I think it's just the change in gravity level. Left me a little bit queasy. I know how you feel. I was late for a hangar audit once and rushed down straight after a big lunch. I was moving so fast that with the gravity shift, my stomach contents couldn't keep up. Gross. Tell me about it. I did everything I could to keep my mouth shut. You know the rule for low gravity zones. What you spew is left up to you. I wasn't going to be late. And on cleanup duty. Speaking of duties, shouldn't there be someone around here? Dawn should be around here somewhere. If you're feeling funny, stay here for a moment and I'll go see if I can find him. Sure. As you watch, despite the 15-meter difference between the catwalk and the hangar floor, Cassie nonchalantly places her 2 hands on the handrail and deftly vaults over it into the emptiness. Thanks to the low gravity, she doesn't fall, but instead kicks off the railing, propelling herself through the air. As Cassie drifts off, eventually catching on to one of the armored frame's legs and using it to swing yourself around to float in a different direction, you place your elbow on the railing and your head in your hand. You turn your attention back to the stoic features of the armored frame's heads and sigh deeply. Your attention is caught by the cockpit hatch on one of the frames being half open. Looking around, you see everything as you'd expect. Armored frame weapon racks, storage containers, various equipment, all of it restrained appropriately and judiciously arranged. The cockpit hatch is the only thing that breaks that pattern. It's weird, I can't find him anywhere. I know it's definitely his shift right now, so he should be around here somewhere. Looking past Cassandra at the armored frame with the ajar cockpit hatch, a thought strikes you. I think I might have an idea. Follow me. You carry out the same vaulting maneuver that Cassie had performed and kick off towards the huge machine's cockpit. Once close enough, you grab a hold of its arm and pull yourself up towards the open hatch. A few seconds later, Cassie appears beside you, and you both notice the sound of gentle snoring coming from within the cockpit. Well, Lieutenant Commander, I think this is an operations issue, so I'll let you handle it. Leaving the discipline up to me again, huh? Cassandra nimbly clambers up the armored frame, positioning herself right above the cockpit. Bracing herself on the machine's chest, she brings her heel down sharply and repeatedly on the armor. Cadet Grange, attention! You hear a muffled scream from within the cockpit, followed by a dull thud, a string of muttered cursing, and then finally a figure emerges from the cockpit. Ma'am, I was just checking the calibrations. The calibrations on the AF. I got some feedback that... Oh, it's just you, Commander Quinn. Excuse me, just? Is that how you address a superior officer, Cadet? Ma'am? No, ma'am, I was not expecting to see you in the hangar, ma'am. Okay, you can tone it down a bit, Dalton. Oh, yes, ma'am. Good enough, I suppose. Anyway, Cadet, this is Lieutenant Starbullet, ship's security officer. Sir, Cadet Dalton Grange, junior engineer. Good to meet you. Good to meet you, Cadet. Looks like they've got you working hard. Looks like... Oh, no, sir. Well, that is, yes, sir, but not so hard I'm falling asleep. No, sir, I was recalibrating the sensors array on the... Take it easy, Cadet. We've all taken a nap in a cockpit in our lives. Well... Of course, we never took cockpit naps with the chief giving us our orders. So you probably need to get back on with whatever you were doing, huh? I totally forgot. She's going to kill me. Good kid, right? I feel sorry for him already. All right. Let's go mess hall. And here we have the highlight of this entire tour, the mess hall. Cassandra's face is radiating happiness as she gestures through the double doorway that you stood by into the mess. Looking inside, you see a canteen like any other. Tables, chairs, vending machines, it's all here. This is the highlight? It looks like a pretty standard mess to me. You bet. Do you know why? Tell me. Because they've got both of the different kinds of vending machines. The red one that stocks the spicy potato chips and the white one that has all the different chocolate bars. Wow, so that's all bases covered, huh? They've got all the fundamental food groups. Spicy potato chip and chocolate bar. That's all you need. That's all you need, guys. I'm not sure. Hey, Quinn. Rough voice calls from further in. You hadn't noticed them previously because of Cassandra's enthusiastic presentation of the vending machines, but someone sat in the far corner, stands up, drops a half-smoked cigarette into a coffee cup, and strides over. Are you smoking on a space vessel? What the fuck? What's going on, Quinn? Who's this? Lieutenant Rumney, were you just smoking in the mess hall? Take it easy, Quinn. I was sat right by the extractor vent for the meal vendor. No harm, no foul. That's not the point. The extra strain on the air scrubbers from the cigarette. Yeah. So anyway, who's this hottie? Well, Kat's got her tongue. Name's Haru. Haru Rumney. What about you, good looking? Lieutenant GundamGoku, Starbullet, ship security. GundamGoku, Starbullet? No way, really? Last time I checked. Well, alright, good to know. That's all for me, Starbullet. You know where my quarters are, right? What? Well, you're lost, Lieutenant. Catch you nerds later. What was that all about? I can't stand them sometimes. They swagger around the ship like they own the place just because they're one of the only 2 pilots on board. Newsflash, Haru. Second best pilot out of 2 is last place. Don't worry about them too much. They're not worth it. Ugh. Okay. Putting out your half-smoked cigarette and your half-drunk coffee. Pretty gross. I don't know why smoking on a ship hasn't been banned yet. I'm shocked it isn't banned. Both kinds. For some reason, certain ships sometimes only have the red one or the white one, so I can get why she's excited. Standard food vendor unit installed in all GCF ships. It's half robotic chef, half vending machine. You select what you want and it prepares it for you. The ingredients are almost all long life synthetic reproductions, but it's pretty convincing. When you're done, you can slot the plate back in for cleaning. As long as I can get a salad. I love me a salad. Okay, is that everything? Normally the coffee would go to organics processing, but because they dump their sugar in there, it'll need to go into waste disposal. What a waste. I know, it's not like our grandparents' era where when everything in and out had to be balanced. But I can't stand when people ruin recyclables. Should we get something from the vendor? Maybe not now. Okay, cool. That's the hamburger followed by the pineapple salad, right? Pineapple salad? I mean, how do you run out of pineapple salad within a week? I love that reference. That's awesome. You know, this is clearly... The people who made this game clearly love mecha anime, right? Pretty sure pineapple salad is a Macross reference. I don't think the ship logistics ever expected a certain someone to have it with every meal. I mean, not every meal. Crew quarters. So your quarters are down this way, huh? That's right. Why? I was wondering where you'd be on a Swift class. There's two different quarters sections. One is all the department chiefs, whilst the other has the crew that work within those departments. Since you're the only security officer on board, I was wondering if you'd count as a department head or not. Well, I guess I don't. I'm just slumming it. Oh, that's not... What I meant was that, I'm messing with you. Don't worry about it. The head of security is typically under the captain's instruction anyway, so it makes sense that my quarters are down this way. I guess so, when you put it like that. So have you met any of your neighbors yet? Well, let's see. Hanson Cruz. Yeah, I know this guy. Oh, you've met him already? Not on the gun dog. I knew him back on the college. Is he the guy you've told me about? That's right. Not what you'd call my biggest fan. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. So full disclosure, I played the demo of this game. So I know what the I know that Hanson hates our main character's guts. You'll see soon. This is Haru's room. They're definitely heard what Hanson has to say about me. Probably best I don't run into them too often. I mean, they still wanted to bed you, so. Dalton's room. Kid could probably do with taking a little bit of time to relax every now and again. Dylan D's. Dylan D's nut. No. No, haven't met him yet. He's the ship's gunner. Bit of a weird guy. You're more likely to find him in fire control than you ever will in his quarters. Oh yeah? Yeah, he brought tons of cassettes with him. And day or night, you'll find him listening to them one after another. He's always sat staring out into space on, or air drumming along. Hasn't really talked to anyone. At least he's always at his post. Alright, as you step into your quarters, Cassandra follows you in. She stands by the door for a moment, looking around the room before turning to face you. Well, you really like to keep it tidy, don't you? I've only just got here. There's not a lot of time to make a mess. Are you kidding? I'm pretty sure my bag exploded the moment I stepped into my room. Jovian military supplies just aren't what they used to be. Or maybe it was operator error. And what's that supposed to mean, Lieutenant? Nothing, nothing. Just considering all possibilities. Wait, is that? What? Lieutenant Starbillant, don't tell me that. What? What is it? Your chair. It's not perfectly aligned with the terminal. I guess nobody's perfect, huh? I would have made more of an effort if I knew the officer doing spot checks was such a stickler. I suppose I won't have to report you to the captain this time, Lieutenant. And crew quarters 2. And this is the second set of crew quarters, where operations staff, that's me and Vanessa, the department heads, and the captain have their quarters. Makes sense. Of course, it's obvious why you'd come this way so soon after finding out I was part of the crew. What do you mean? I'm supposed to be meeting the captain soon. I know, and despite that, you've let your libido guide you to my quarters, you animal. Let's maybe save that for later, okay? You tease. That's Dr. Rosarium's quarters. Although I've never seen or heard him use them. He's pretty severe. Is that right? Yeah, it's hard to explain. I guess you'll find out when you meet him. Okay. Must be pretty intense. Normally Cassie's got a lot more to say about people than that. Mackenzie's, that is the chief's room. She seems pretty committed to the job. I bet she doesn't spend much time here. Cassandra Quinn. I don't really need an explanation on who that room belongs to. This is Vanessa's room. She's great. We work together in operations. Oh yeah, your friends already? Definitely. She's done so much for me already. She's always letting me know that she's covered for me when I'm late, that she's picked up on some of my tasks when I'm running behind. She's a little angel. Cassandra, I've run your diagnostics again. I don't know what I'd do without her. AKA, she's pissed at you. She's not your friend. She's just angry at you for not doing your job. The captain quarters sits at the end of the corridor, differentiated from the other doors in the corridor by the small insignia that sits above the nameplate. Like the others in the corridor, it displays the occupant's name. In the case, Captain... oh man. Mers Bartermew. Bartermews. Mers? Maris? Mers? I love Mobile Suit Gundam names as much as the next guy. They're impossible to pronounce. Makuve took me years to figure out. Makuve took me years to figure out. Like, you know, you love your Quattro Beginas, your Kakrakan Kukulers. There's so many great names. Even in your role as security officer, there are a few rooms on the ship that you don't have access to. The captain's quarters is one of them. Why would you want access to the captain's quarters? I wouldn't. I'll do my best to never go in that room ever. I don't want to be in the captain's office. I don't want to be in the captain's quarters. I don't want to be anywhere near the captain if I can help it. There's nothing for you here right now, so turn back. Turn back. Turn back now. Oh, let's check out Cassandra's quarters. Oh, by the way, if you ever want access to my quarters, the passcode for the lock is 0211. Pretty much the same passcode I use for everything. 0211, got it. Oh, that's right, it's... Fuck. I don't know. Our anniversary? Come on, you didn't think I'd forget, did you? Hey, good job. Oh, hey, wait. Before you go in, can you give me a few minutes just to tidy the place up? I was almost late for my duty shift this morning, so it's kind of a mess. Let me put some stuff away, okay? Yeah, sure. Keeping herself between you and the entrance to her room, Cassandra opens the door using the control panel to its right. As it opens, she swiftly steps through, and before it's even all the way open, closes it again using the panel on her side of the entrance. The entire time, she's obstructed your view of her quarters. Thanks. I won't be long, promise. A few minutes pass and you continue to stand gingerly outside of Cassie's quarters. You hear the occasional footsteps coming from the floor side doorway, but they all move on to other parts of the ship. Thankfully, no one stops by to ask why security is lurking outside one of the operation officer's quarters. Hey, Cassie. You give the door a gentle knock, leaning against the wall, continuing to remain on lookout for anyone who may have some questions about what you're doing here. It's his girlfriend's quarters. What's It's no big deal. How's it going in there? Oh yeah, almost done. Just give me a minute to get this sorted out. And that last pause is followed by a loud bang and the sound of a small cascade of various objects onto the floor. Okay, maybe a few more minutes. You sigh and step back from the door. Anyone asks you, you can always tell them that you're doing spot checks for contraband or something similar. Done. Come in. Welcome. Make yourself at... As you step through the door frame, the toe of your boot catches on a discarded pair of leggings, which are held in place by your other foot. As you begin to fall over, you reach out to catch onto something to stop yourself. Unfortunately, the chair you reach for has a uniform thrown over the back, which slips as you grab it, bringing both the chair and the assortment of cosmetics on the seat clattering down to the floor with you. What were you doing the last couple minutes if this is clean to you? Well, what's the meme? It's like, yo, bitch, you live like this? Oh no, GundamGoku, are you okay? I'm sorry, I thought... Cassie? Yes? Thought you said you were tidying this place up. I was! Then why did I just get brained by a falling hairdryer? There was a system! You get back to your feet and right the chair as Cassie quickly grabs the assorted bottles and tubes that fell down with you, placing them randomly back on any nearby surface. You almost launch into a speech about securely stowing possessions in case of high-speed maneuvers, but you stop yourself. Doesn't the captain ever carry out spot checks or surprise inspections? No, it's great. From what I've heard, her quarters are a worse state than mine. Is that right? Like everything else in this room, this terminal appears to be in use as extra storage space. Even the chair's covered in stuff. Since Cassie's in operations, you'd think she'd make more use out of her terminal than anyone else on board, but I can't see how she uses it like this. There's a system. Didn't you hear her? The front panel of the storage unit looks like it's barely managing to stay shut. Could that be what that bang was earlier? Are those printed photographs? Aren't those cool? They're from our first date at the Europa amusement park. I took my Pixie Cam straight to a specialist printer the next day and got copies made. I even wrote the date on the back so I'd never forget our anniversary. Aw, look at us! Look how young we are! Aw, we're so cute. Look at us! Well, I never knew you were that sentimental. I knew it was on to a good thing when you held my hair back so I could barf mid-roller coaster ride. You don't meet many people that considerate when you're dating within the forces. Let me tell you. Yeah, now I think about it, that wasn't the most romantic date I'd ever been on. You still called me back for a second date, though. They're cute. They're cute together. Like, and here's the thing. If that's your first date and it's like you holding her hair back, y'all are gonna be fine. Especially if y'all keep dating after that and you've been able to like stay together through long distance while on, you know, different naval vessels. I guess I must have been pretty desperate. Hey! Joking. Cassie's bed, it currently appears to be acting as a makeshift wardrobe. Does she move all these clothes before she goes to sleep, or do they act like an extra sheet? How does she even have this much clothing on board anyway? Also, that big-ass bottle of alcohol just on her. Is that a bottle of sake on her bed? Is there anything else to look at? No. Next time, I'll keep my wits about me for any inadvertent booby traps before I come in. All right, cool. I guess there's only one place left to go. We should check out fire control. Moving beyond the mess hall and the hangar access, the two of you continue to the furthest end of the four-side thoroughfare. The door at the very end of the corridor is shut, the words fire control painted on it in large stenciled letters. Cassandra swipes her keycard through the reader by the door before turning to you. So this is fire control. The gunner's probably here, but, well, you'll see. That's Pretty cryptic. Hey! By the way, I haven't said anything about the music. The music in this game is pretty cool. I like it. As you follow Cassandra through the doorway, your eyes take a moment to adjust as the strip lighting that illuminates the rest of the ship is now conspicuously absent. Said the entire room is lit by the phosphorescent glow from a alcove full of screens and readouts. Looking at the screens, each one seems to not be showing much more than a few specks on a black background. From experience, though, you know that what you're looking at is a live feed from cameras all over the ship's exterior. In the center of this alcove, facing away from you, is a seat like the ones on the bridge. From the angle, it's impossible to tell if there's anyone in it, but you notice a tiny, rhythmic hiss coming from it. So anyway, all the ship's weapon systems are controlled from here. These screens give the gunner a panoramic view of. Is the gunner here right now? You look over Cassandra's shoulder at the back of the seat. You swear you see a quick flicker of movement, but you can't be sure it's not just the flash of a readout reflecting off a surface. Oh, Dylan, yeah, he's here. Should we say hello? Well, normally I would, but Cassandra leans back slowly as if trying to... Okay, I don't know what that word is. Repetitiously? What is that word? Okay. Skip. Trying to sneak a peek at what's on the other side of the chair without it noticing her. She quickly turns back to you after a moment's pause. He just looks so in the zone, you know? It seems a shame to interrupt him. Interrupt what? Sandra leans back again, and after a moment, quietly gestures for you to come take a look. Sat in the chair is a man who looks a little bit older than you. His eyes are closed, and his face a picture of absolute serenity. Why are his glasses like... His glasses are so big that they go like past the headphones. Over his ears are possibly the single largest pair of headphones you've seen in your entire life. As he sits there, oblivious to your presence, his right leg bounces up and down, and his wrists flick constantly. You wonder for a moment if he's okay before spying a cassette player poking out of his jacket pocket. You realize that the hiss you hear is the slightest whisper of the music that he's listening to, escaping from those substantial headphones. Is this okay? Shouldn't he be a bit more attentive? Don't worry, it's fine. He's not even on duty. Yeah, but what if there's an alert? Let's find out. Cassandra moves over to a panel just before the monitor-laden alcove, takes a receiver off the wall, and enters a few numbers into the keypad. Hi, Vanessa. Yeah, it's Cassie. Can we test the alert system in fire control? No, I know it's not scheduled. It's a spot check. Yep, random testing. You know, Chief's orders. Of course, she asked. Why would I be asking for a spot test of the alert in fire control if Chief didn't ask? You're a darling. Thanks. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Fuck, that's loud. In an instant, you see the figure in the chair bolt upright, yank his headphones off, and lay his hands on the fire control systems, his head snapping back and forth as he rapidly surveys the walls of monitors. False alarm? Hey, Dylan. Don't mind us. Just had to do a spot check on the alarm system. Chief's orders. Oh, hey, Quinn. No problem. Who's this? Lieutenant GundamGoku Star Bullet. Ship security. Oh, hey, Warrant Officer Dylan D's gunner. Sorry. I'm an adult. Welcome aboard. Thanks. Well, let me know if you guys need anything. That alert totally got in the way of an awesome solo, so I'm going to rewind and pick up where I left off. Good to meet you. Okay, we should probably head to the bridge now. Yep, move, central hub, move. We're gonna go to the bridge now. Oh, we can go to sick bay, actually. Let's go to sick bay. The elevator doors hiss open, and you both step out into a wide open room. You're immediately struck by the glare of the high-powered lights that are set into the ceiling, and just as you regain your vision, the powerful aroma of clinical disinfectant burns at your nostrils. Looking around, you see the standard features of a sick bay, a set of beds that extrude from the wall on one side and a large gallery window set into the wall on the other, indicating the presence of a surgery wing. The walls are lined with cupboards, and cabinets containing medical supplies and various devices sit on countertops. In the middle of the room is a large desk set to face the entrance. On the side closest to you are 2 chairs, and on the other sits a figure that you almost mistake for a piece of medical equipment until they look up. Miss Quinn, excellent timing. I've just finished the analysis of your... Hey, Doc. Don't worry about that right now. I'm giving you a tour to our new security officer. Very good, Miss Quinn. Hello, Lieutenant Starbullet. I'm the ship's doctor, Sefer Rosarium. I've reviewed your file already, so please feel free to stop by with any complaints. But since you're here, Miss Quinn, I'd really like to talk about your gastro. Honestly, Doctor, it's fine. We can talk about it. Intestinal. Doctor, later. Distress. Okay, Doctor, a moment, please. Honey, if you could just give me a few moments with the doctor. Yeah, no problem. Cassandra grabs the doctor by his sleeve and drags him over to the surgery wing, yanking him through behind her. Once the door closes, you can't hear them, but you can still see the two through the gallery window. You decide to turn your attention away and examine the nearby poster on space illness. Yes, thank you, Doctor. I understand. So that includes any synthetic meats or carbohydrates. Understood. But as I've explained, I've got a full supply of NutriShake powders that should serve as a balanced replacement for meals from the food vendor. It should alleviate your... Doctor! Tummy troubles. This tour is moving on. Hey, Doc's just doing his job. All right, let's go to the bridge now. You step from the elevator onto the bridge, and what seems to have been a pretty quiet atmosphere turns totally silent as the 2 women present, who had previously been observing a screen, turn to face you. You identify the captain almost immediately by her uniform, although you are given pause to wonder if you've misjudged, as she listlessly straightens up and heads over to you with an air of disinterest. The other woman shoots you a look, but remains seated at her station, quickly turning away when she realizes you've caught her looking your way. You presume from her position on the bridge she must be a member of operations like Cassandra. This must be the Vanessa she mentioned. Lieutenant GundamGoku Starbullet, entering the bridge and reporting for formal assignment. You declare, throwing a sharp salute with Cassandra quickly following suit. Lieutenant Commander Cassandra Quinn, entering the bridge in accompaniment of Lieutenant Starbullet. You're taken aback slightly as you realize that you've hardly ever seen Cassie be serious about anything, even her position. Whenever she's had to talk about her assignments, it's always been dismissive or in a joking way. You're caught so off guard that you almost miss the captain addressing you. At ease, Lieutenant Commander. You and Cassie both lower your salutes and loosen your posture slightly. There's a slight pause, which you can tell is the captain sizing you up. This informal assessment lasts a little bit longer than you're comfortable with, until the captain releases a heavy sigh. Welcome aboard, Lieutenant. I was beginning to get worried that the notification we'd had that you'd come aboard had been a system issue. I trust that you hadn't had too hard a time finding your way to the bridge to introduce yourself. No, ma'am, I was just... Glance over to Cassandra, who is maintaining a completely straight face. We can check out anywhere you want before we head up there. Yeah, right. You fix your gaze straight ahead. This wouldn't be the first time that Cassandra's lackadaisical attitude had got you in trouble with higher-ups. I was just familiarizing myself with the ship in case I came up with any inquiries that I could field to you. Oh, is that so? Well, anything you'd like to ask? No, ma'am. Very good. Well, I'm glad you could make it. Eventually. This mission is an urgent one, which is why we departed as soon as you came aboard without a formal reception. Thinking about it, it was unusual that there hadn't been a formal onboarding process beyond the dock staff checking your ID and guiding you onto the Gondog. You'd in your rush, but now it was obvious. Yeah, normally there's like a whole procedure when you're coming on board. But it did make sense that if this was an urgent dispatch, the ship would launch as soon as... Oh. I don't even know how I did that. Okay. But it makes sense that if this was an urgent dispatch, the ship would launch as soon as all of its crew were on board. My apologies, ma'am. My transport was running late. Yes, we'd been sent word. That wouldn't have been anything to do with you, would it? No, ma'am. There was a breakdown on the... Anyways, Lieutenant, I'd like to take the opportunity to formally welcome you to the JFS Gundog. My name is Captain Mers Bottermuse. I run as tight a ship as you'd expect, and I anticipate that you'll carry out your duties to the same standard. Yes, ma'am. From experience, most onboarding procedures have involved greetings and speeches from the captain that have ranged from serious to almost ceremonial. In comparison, Captain Bartolomew's introduction is almost lethargic. Your card, Lieutenant. Yes, ma'am. The item button will activate when you're able to use items. In some cases, you'll need to use an item to proceed, but in other cases, use an item. Whether you use an item or not is up to you. When possible, select the item button to open the inventory. Gotcha. Your card, Lieutenant. She inspects it for a moment before taking it to a control panel near the captain's chair. You remain in position, not quite at ease, but not quite at attention. You watch as she enters some commands into the console and inserts your card into a slot. There's a whirring sound. A whirring sound? Followed by a series of beeps before your card is ejected and the captain takes it back. By selecting the function button, you can now assess a map of the ship. It allows you to move from one location to another without visiting areas in between. Oh, fast travel. Nice. If an event happens somewhere on the way, you will move to that location instead. You can also view your current objectives and other important information. To return, select the function button again. So we're currently in the bridge. With this, Lieutenant Starbullet, you now have access to all areas and authorities. To all areas and authorities befitting the ship's security detail. Your responsibilities begin with immediate effect. Thank you, ma'am. You're also now authorized to take an appropriate electroshock weapon from the armory. If you have any further questions, then you know where to find me. Dismissed. Aye, ma'am. Aye, ma'am. Okay. Talk to Vanessa. Excuse me, Lieutenant. I'm currently on duty, so I would appreciate if you do not disturb me. Lieutenant Lord. Lieutenant Starbullet is the ship's head of security. Since I'm here, you can take the time to introduce yourself formally. Great. I've got this. See you in 5. So you're the security officer that Cassandra's been going on about. That's right. Lieutenant GundamGoku Starbullet. Pleased to meet you. Well, I'm Vanessa Lord. I serve on the bridge as part of operations. Cassandra's told me a lot about you. Is that right? What kind of... I'm disappointed that you're nowhere near as attractive as she made you out to be. Oh, is that, right? Thought it was too good to be true that some dashing officer would be transferred here at the last moment. He said, we just got another lunk. Well, how was it you even got transferred here on such short notice? I was looking over your records earlier, and you were mid-assignment on the Duke. Why would they transfer you instead of... Whoa, hey, look at the time. I think your break's over. Lieutenant Commander Quinn, I think Vanessa needs to get back to her station. Of course, I hope this is the start of a productive working relationship between the two of you. Vanessa, I'll catch up with you later, okay? Alright. We can use the map, actually. Let's go to the armory. And get ourselves a firearm. Where is the... Oh, there's the armor. Yes. Alright, this time we swipe our card. We get access granted. The first thing you notice about the armory is that the benches and lockers remind you of the changing rooms from the training center back at the military academy. As you walk past them, you take a closer look and realize they're the same kind of benches used on the larger ships you've been stationed on, the ones with sports facilities and changing rooms on board. Instead of sports clothing and equipment, these lockers are filled with a selection of combat gear, from body armor or electric shock weapons to a variety of small and light weapons. You know, this is the first time I've ever actually been inside a ship's armory. It's not really surprising. It's only the security detail that would have access. Even in a situation where a ship's expecting to encounter a boarding party, security's responsibility is to distribute weaponry to the crew in advance. It's to ensure there's no panic and the crew don't get a hold of weaponry they're not trained to use. That's standard regulation. You should know that. They don't train y'all in firearms in boot camp? I don't know about you, dog, but I had to go to the range. Well, all I remember from my firearms training was when I dropped my electroshock weapon and accidentally zapped one of the other girls from operations. Cassandra, how are you a lieutenant commander? Like somehow this chick got promoted. Like, she started as an ensign and got promoted all the way to lieutenant commander. Our training made me use a hand crank battery charger to recharge our trainer made me use a hand crank battery charger to recharge all the power packs as punishment. That must have taken forever. You bet, but you should have seen my gun show afterwards. Which reminds me, the captain said I was authorized to collect my sidearm. I should get it whilst I'm here. Electro shotgun. It's just my standard issue duty weapon for my role as security officer. Fires a barbed projectile that contains a miniature battery. It's non-lethal, but more than enough to stop someone in their tracks. I see. Absolutely not. Aw, come on. No, you don't get one. What? Why? You're the security officer. You could say I was inspecting the weapons. Variety of small arms and light weapons. They're only to be used against external hostile forces. Even then, their stopping power is relatively low because of the danger of using live rounds inside a ship. Okay, so those are actually live rounds. Well, I know you're security, but you never tell me about anything exciting. I always imagine you facing down bad guys with some scary pistol the size of my forearm, saying cool lines like, "How many shots did I fire? I don't know myself, but the question is, do you feel lucky, bub?" You've been watching too many old movies. Aw, not even once? Most of my job has been dealing with crew members who get a bit, I want to assume that is supposed to be sketchy after being cooped up on a ship for too long and start fights with each other. Because I don't know what tetchy is. I don't know what that is. Even then, I just tend to break things up and talk them down. Most of the time, no one even ends up in the break. You've got to have done something more exciting than that. He's a security officer on board a ship. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but that's generally what security watch is. One time when I was in the Navy, I was on watch. I was a hospital corpsman, so I was a combat medic, but I had to do watch. And we had the guy who was supposed to be taking over for watch after me comes in, proceeds to punch a brick wall because he's drunk off his mind. He's so drunk. Punches a wall because he dropped his sunglasses and he was mad about it. And then he proceeded to try to pick a fight with the entire barracks. I'm not even joking. we had to pull him away from the scribe because he was picking a fight with the scribe. Oh man. Scribe is the person in the unit who like takes notes and shit. This was in FMTB. field medical training battalion. So yeah, I was on watch, and we had to get the sergeant, the Marine Corps sergeant that was there, and we had to be like, Sergeant, he's supposed to be taking over watch, and he is plastered. Sergeant, what are we supposed to do? He's like, I guess one of you is just gonna have to stay over an extra watch, and I'll find someone to replace you. Put him to bed. We'll deal with it later. They threw him in a rack and put him to sleep. Story time with GundamGoku. Well, I knew you were in exciting action here. Tell me. So this one time, a pilot found out that someone on the maintenance team had been trying to hit on his girlfriend. He got so mad that he got into his armored frame and used it to corner the guy in the hangar. No way! He was threatening to turn the guy into paste and made a real mess of some cargo containers. Because the hangars are a low gravity zone, I was able to make a jump from a gangway to the armored frame and then overrode the cockpit access from the outside. The pilot was too focused on this engineer to notice me. Whoa, a frame jack? Did you use a cool line when the cockpit opened? Pick on someone your own size or something. No way, I put 50,000 volts into the guy's shoulder the second I had a clear shot. Aw, come on, you're no fun. Just doing my job. I don't know where I should go now. Task. Visit the airlock. Oh, we haven't gone to the airlock? Where's the airlock? This is the main airlock. It's the main way to get on and off the ship when it's docked. Thanks. I've already been here. Oh, really? When? Actually, I think I'm confused with somewhere else. What else can you tell me? Well, it's got one of the best views on the ship, for one thing. You look around, but can't see any windows. You wouldn't expect to on a military vessel where an occlusion like that could compromise the structure. Well, I'm pretty sure that during battle stations you would just have like a metal plate go over it, or it would be made out of a type of like bulletproof glass that wouldn't break. You know, but okay, sure. Here, really? Yeah, really. Check it out. Sort of strides over to the terminal set into the wall next to the airlock hatch and quickly begins typing commands to do it. You hear a sequence of beeps, and she stands back, gesturing proudly to the screen. Not too bad, huh? You look at the screen, but all you can see is a dark display with a few errant pixels suspended on it. Is that working? Of course it's working. Look. You stare a little harder at the screen. Although it takes you a moment, you eventually realize that's an external feed. That's right. Normally you can only see out of the gun dog from either the bridge or the hangar, but the ship's covered in small cameras for combat situations. You can access the feeds from the terminals around the ship. That's actually pretty cool, but isn't the view from the bridge or the hangar better? You know, because you're actually looking out? Well, maybe, but there's always someone else around. You never get the view to yourself. No one ever comes here, and it's so quiet, it's almost like you're out there. I can see what you mean. It's pretty quiet out this way. And with a fancy screen like that, it's basically the real view. I knew you'd understand. I'll add the command to your terminal access. That way you can come out here and see the stars whenever you want. Thanks. Visit the engine room, central computer. The chief continues to mutter herself. Eventually she heads down the ladder she's climbed to confront you. Now it's Now out of sight, Cassandra darts towards the engine room, gesturing you over, checking over his shoulder in case the chief has reappeared. Okay, well, it's got to be better than staying here with the chief. Ooh, nice animation. The room you find yourself in is a similar size to the area you just left, but whilst that was crammed full of a huge range of machinery, this room is almost entirely filled by one colossal cylindrical device. The pulse of the engine is now a tangible sensation as the vibrations it emits shakes your whole body. So this is the main engine. Well, one of them anyway. Like Chief said, the ship's outfitted with 2 of these. I see what you meant now when you said the Gundog's a huge set of engines with a ship strapped to them. This thing's massive. I know, I look at it and I feel like you could probably fit the rest of the ship in this room if the engine weren't there. That's because it's impossible to get the Higgs field distortion drive any smaller. Ah, Chief! Chief, I know you said so these engines are actually a combination nuclear pulse engines built around a Higgs field distortion drive. If the HFDD wasn't here, then this engine could be about 10 times smaller than this. Although I hear they've managed to improve the efficiency of newer MPEs, so it's possible that the space saving could be more like 11 times smaller. Can either of you two tell me how a HFDD works? Higgs field distortion drive. What are they teaching you at the Academy? It's the drive that allows the ship to move far beyond speeds allowed by conventional engines, although it's nowhere near faster than light. It's what gets us around the solar system without needing to worry whether we'll live long enough to see the end of the journey. Anyway, everyone knows about the existence of the Higgs field. It's what allows interactions with the Higgs boson that gives particles their mass. Alright, so what the drive does is warp the field relative to the ship and those on board. By doing this, it displaces the mass of a different area of space, but within the same relative... Holy fuck! I need a drink. Holy shit. I love pseudoscience as much as the next guy. When I say pseudoscience, I mean like science fiction-y, you know, fake science. That's not... That is based off of, like, you know, fiction, not actual real stuff happening yet. Sorry, I had to take a drink. As the chief continues with her explanation, you glance at Cassandra and see a thinly veiled look of terror on her face. Can't blame her, as you feel as much the same way caught in this impromptu lecture. That because the particles retain their relationship with each other, the general perception is that things are the same as normal. I love that this, like, big muscular lady is like super excited about technology and just loves, you know, tech. Like, she could be an instructor at an academy or something. However, from an exterior perspective, the lecture drags on and you quickly lose track of the chief's explanation. Although you recognize the words she's saying, you can no longer make sense of the context. They come to seem like a meaningless string of sounds. Does that make sense? Yeah, so the field is it's got the mass, which is pushed. No. How to put it? Okay, so imagine that space is a ketchup packet, and you're the sauce. The sauce? Right, the sauce. Now, what the distortion drive does, it's like a thumb on the universe of the packet. It moves the sauce across by changing the shape of the packet to push the sauce. The packet is the universe, we're the sauce, and the drive is a thumb. You've got it! You quickly glance back to Cassandra and meet her eyes as she's doing the same thing. You know for certain that neither of you have got it. I kind of get it. The universe is space, and the engine takes the matter within that space and pushes it forward. That's what she's saying. And that's why these engines have to be so big to house that drive. Oh, it all makes sense now. I see. Yes, definitely. Well, now that you appreciate the science behind it, I won't have to throw you out of here. Thanks, Chief. Anytime. Just remember, Lieutenant. Yes, Chief? Screw if anything, and I'll throw you out of the airlock instead. Yes, Chief. Sauce? She still, like, doesn't understand. Central computer. Alright, so it doesn't open. Instead, you hear a harsh tone in the terminal. Access denied, insufficient authority. Even with your security clearance, you won't be able to go into the main computer room. Because the staff is so small, the ship's computer handles a lot of tasks that would normally be done by the crew. It controls a lot of the really sensitive functions, so only the captain and the operations team are allowed access. Oh, I don't think any of the ships I've been on have had a computer system like this. The bigger ships usually have their computing distributed amongst multiple systems across the ship. But because they've also got larger crews, there's more that the people on board are responsible for. I think that because the Swift class is so small, there's such a limited crew, they need to assign more functionality to the computer. Because of that, it's a lot more vital that no one screws around with it. I see. You said that operations have access. Can we take a look using your authority? Well, since the whole reason I'm here is that I didn't exactly take my responsibilities with the Reliance computer system seriously, the captains told me not to mess around with it. Ah. But it's not that interesting anyway. Okay. So now we just need to catch up with Cassandra, which is we do that in her quarters. So, how are you finding the Gundog so far? Enjoying the tour? The ship's pretty much the same as every other one I've been stationed on. The tour is first class though. Maybe working in naval operations doesn't work out. You could start your own business as a tour guide back on Europa colony. You think so? Definitely. Seem to have all the insider knowledge already. And you've only been stationed here a few days. Imagine all the insider knowledge you could share about Europa colony. Yeah, you're right. And over here we have the statute of the workers who built this colony. You sneak around the back, you can get inside the plant and hide from colony security if they catch you and your friends hanging out in the park after it's shut. Then again, you don't think that's the kind of thing people would want to know? Maybe a bit more about the workers first, anyway. How do you feel about being transferred from the Reliant? I know. We don't need to have this conversation. I've already had it from Captain Singh in my dismissal and one from the senior resource officers. You're wasting your potential. You would make an excellent captain if you took your duties seriously. Your academy scores were excellent. I wasn't going to give you the speech. One of the only good things about not having parents is I don't have to hear it from them too. Hey, Cassie. And it's the absolute worst hearing it from you. Because I know that out of everyone, you're probably the only person that really cares. I wasn't going to give you the big speech about it. I figured you'd already had it from everyone else. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. Figured you were feeling worse than you let on. It's going to be okay, you know? A ship like this isn't the worst place to be for a while. And if things work out okay, you can always put in for a transfer back to a bigger ship. The JCF is still building up its navy, so there'll be loads of opportunities. And if that doesn't work out, there's still your career as a tour guide back on Europa. Yeah, you know it. Probably make a better tour guide than a ship operator anyway. I think you'd be great at whatever you decide to do. And whatever that is, I'll be here to support you through it. Cassie? You're so cheesy sometimes. Hey, come here. How are you finding the Gundog so far? A lot less to do. Pretty lax compared to Captain Singh. But then I get the impression that this whole crew is a bunch of burnouts. Except for us. No, we're a bunch of burnouts too. Well, you are anyway. you kind of pulled some strings to get me transferred here. I honestly didn't mean that about you. What do you want to do when we've got some shore leave? So that we're on the same ship, our shore leave will line up. Do you have anywhere you want to go? Anything you want to do? I hadn't thought about it. I guess this means that we'll be able to go on a lot more dates now. Oh, I know. Did you hear about that new colony they're adding to the Europa cluster? It's got an ultra-efficient water handling plant, and the planners have included a water park. We should go as soon as it opens. A water park? What's that? You've never heard of a water park? Well, yeah, he was born on a colony next to Jupiter. Of course he's never heard of a water park. They're one of the coolest new features on the new colonies. They're like lots of big swimming pools with slides and rivers and all sorts. All the e-magazines are saying that they're going to be the coolest things to do on the colonies once they're open. Pools and slides into pools? Like, really exciting. Okay, I guess when we're next docked, I'll see if I can book us some tickets. Awesome. Did we catch up with Cassie? Okay, cool. So, now what we do? Okay, we've already done all this. Okay. With Cassandra leading the way, the two of you leave Cassandra's quarters behind you and step into crew quarters corridor 2. She pauses a moment, looking left then right before turning back to face you with a smile on her face. Well, that's it, GundamGoku. Consider yourself officially acquainted with all there is to be acquainted with on board the one and only JFS Gundog. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I did. It's probably up there in my top 5 ship orientations. Top 5? Okay, you're right. Top 3. What? Maybe a triple shift to start your time aboard the Gundog is more to your taste. Well, that did happen to me on board the Thunderbolt, so if that didn't happen, I guess it'd definitely be my favorite orientation ever. What a coincidence. It looks like your schedule's clear until tomorrow morning. Whoa, in that case, 5 stars. Great tour, especially the guide. So now that the tour's over, your duties don't formally begin until tomorrow. You want me to take... If you want, we can take another look at anywhere in the ship, or if you want to call it a day, that's cool too. I think I'll call it a day. I think that's enough for now. I should probably go over the mission logs before tomorrow and get an early night. I know the captain seems pretty relaxed, but I don't want to make a habit of late starts. So responsible. I've got the late shift tonight, so maybe I'll get a nap in too. The two of you leave crew quarters corridor 2 behind you as both head back to your quarters. Cassandra being on board had been a huge surprise, but having spent this time with her, you found that all the anxiety you'd been feeling when you boarded has disappeared completely. You continue to chat casually about your schedules, the mission, and your plans for your next shore leave. Eventually you reach the foreside thoroughfare, and you turn down the corridor that leads to your quarters. Okay, I'll see you soon then. Well, look who it is. The Kaluk Coward. You don't even need to look beyond Cassandra to know who's standing at the entrance to the corridor. Although you'd recognize the mocking tone anywhere, the real giveaway is the nickname, one you thought you'd escaped a long time ago. Hanson Cruz, or as you knew him, Kaluk 3, of the members of the Kaluk squadron who'd taken part in the battle, he'd been the only one to return. Even then, that had only been after the ceasefire had been signed, a full 13 hours after he'd launched. From what you'd heard from other crew members, he'd survived by playing a game of cat and mouse with the enemy forces in a debris field. By shutting down the majority of his systems and hiding amongst the wreckage, he'd been able to launch surprise attacks, taking down his pursuers one by one. When he came back to the Kaluk and saw your armor frame still suspended from its restraints, he had instantly blamed you for the squad being wiped out. If you'd taken off when you were supposed to, he argued, the squadron would have been at full strength, enough to survive the surprise attack. Unlikely, but okay, guy. No amount of technical data or arguing that it had been physically impossible for you to launch would change his mind. The destruction of the Kaluk squadron was on your hands. The worst bit was that you weren't entirely sure he was wrong. What's up, Lieutenant GundamGoku? You're not thinking of finishing your first day without meeting an old friend, right? When Haru came and told me that some lieutenant called GundamGoku Starbullet was our new security officer, I had to come and take a look. No way could it be that wimp from back on the Kaluk. He had to have been dishonorably discharged for dereliction of duty. But I guess the JCF is so desperate that they'll hang on to anybody, no matter how much of a screw-up they are. How'd you end up here, Starbullet? They decided you couldn't handle a full-size ship, so had to put you with the smallest crew they could find. You instinctively make your hands into fists, but unclench them quickly before Hansen notices. You haven't been stationed on the same ship as him since the Kaluk, but you'd run into him a few times on board the colonies whilst you were both on shore leave. Each time you had ended badly. I'm gonna say nothing. You almost lash out at Hansen, but stop yourself before you do. The two of you are on this ship together, whether you like it or not. The last thing you want is to let him know that he can get a rise out of you so easily. You fight the urge to just draw your electroshock weapon here and now. Be easy to put an end to this that way, you think, but you know that in the long term, it'd probably be the worst decision you could make. Instead, you grit your teeth and say nothing. What's the matter, Lieutenant? Nothing to say for yourself? Or are you trying to dodge a fight? I guess that's what you do best, right? See what I was saying, Haru? The lieutenant here is a coward, and he's been and has been since day one. Won't fight, won't even stand up for himself. Ensign Cruz, you stop this right now. Lieutenant Starbullet is. Can't stand up for yourself, so getting this ditz to do it for you, is it, Lieutenant? Cruz, you stop this right now and apologize, or I'll order Lieutenant Starbullet to throw you into solitary and write you up myself. You're welcome to try, Lieutenant Commander, but I don't think your security officers got it in them to even try. Think you can take me on, Starbullet? Doing the best you can to stop yourself from snapping at Hansen and giving him the reaction he wants, you cross both your arms and plant your feet firmly, shoulder width apart. You meet his eyes with a matter-of-fact stare, hoping he takes this to mean that you're not going to stoop to his level. Oh, very scary, Lieutenant. Very tough. What? Hoping I'll put myself in the naughty corner, is it? Nice try. Hansen steps past Cassie and right up to you. With his face inches from yours, he places his right fist into his left hand and cracks his knuckles. He's so close that you can feel his breath on your face as he sneers at you. What's the matter, Lieutenant? Nothing to say? Why don't you show me how tough you can be? Come on then, Lieutenant. What's it gonna be? You going to show me who's boss on board this ship? You gonna make me obey that order? Well, Ensign, you look and you kind of act like this guy named Jared that I know. And it didn't end well for him. You want to think long and hard about what you're going to do, Lieutenant? Never know when you're going to need a friend like me. I mean, we're all crewmates here, right? I'm not heartless. I'll even help losers like you out if you've done me a solid or two. So maybe you should act like a professional for once. Or are you going to do something stupid and show the Lieutenant Commander that you're just as much of a screw-up as she is? Take a deep breath and... Oh, we can't let him talk bad about our girlfriend, right? Hansen's breath hot on your face. You do everything you can not to bat an eye at the last comment, but despite your best efforts, your hands are clenched into fists. As much as you'd like to put 50,000 volts through him for insubordination and insulting a senior officer, you know that would be letting him win. Instead, you glare into the Ensign's eyes for a few more seconds. You can almost feel Hansen's hatred for you radiating from him like an aura, and it takes all the bravado you can muster not to step down. The two of you stand like this for longer than you'd like until... Would you two knock it off already? I didn't do nothing! What you mean? I'm on duty this evening, and I don't want to have to update the captain that both her new security officer and lead pilot are in the sick bay. All because their egos are too big to be on the same ship together. So both of you stand down. That's an order. Both you and Hansen are taken aback for a moment like two school children who've been caught in a playground squabble. You turn from Cassie to Hansen and back, trying to come up with something to say. Similarly, Hansen's air of machismo has been dented by this surprise outburst. No, I don't want to hear it from either of you. You're both in the JCF, so maybe you should start acting like it. Ensign Cruz, I want you to report to the chief at 0400. You're helping her clean out the organic processing filters. As for you, Lieutenant Starbullet, we'll discuss this later. Hey, what? You can't. Ensign, piss off. That's an order. For the first time since you've met him, Hansen looks lost for words. He stands there for a moment, mouth agape. Yeah, Lieutenant Commander. I hear you loud and clear. Hansen thrusts both his hands into his jacket pockets, turning on his heels and heading away towards the thoroughfare. He cocks his head, gesturing to Haru to follow him as he leaves. Before the pair are fully out of sight, he turns back to face the two of you. Good thing someone on this crew is able to keep everyone in line. Doesn't seem like our security officer's up to the task. With this parting shot fired, both Haru and Hansen disappeared around a corner. You and Cassie stand there, watching the space where they'd been. Cassie crosses her arms as she taps her foot furiously. What an absolute dick. I told you he's a real. And you, what was that performance all about? I've told you about him. He doesn't back down. You've got to. I know, but you can't let him get to you like that. Otherwise, he'll just keep coming time after time until one of you does something they regret. I did nothing. I literally did nothing but stand there, and I'm getting blamed like I did something. I didn't even respond to him. You pause for a moment and feel your cheeks grow flush. You're suddenly filled with a sense of shame for being caught out acting so childishly. Did I? I thought I acted pretty professional. Hey, don't worry about it. I know what the two of you have been through, and to be honest, I figured he was a real asshole from the moment I met him. Plus, he's going to be busy helping the chief clean out those filters for the next month, so don't worry too much about running into him much anytime soon. Still feeling a bit sheepish about your behavior in front of Cassie, you manage a smirk. Thanks for stepping in there. I shouldn't have stooped to his level. I didn't, though! Don't worry about it. Just take it easy and don't let what he said get to you. Like, what was I supposed to do? Tase him? Like, instantly? I'm going to get ready for my shift, so I'll see you soon. Sure, I guess I'll catch you in the morning. Sounds good. Oh, one more thing. What's that? Cassie steps forwards, placing her hands on your waist and stands on tiptoes, raising her face up to yours. You close your eyes and tilt your head slightly in response. At the moment that her lips meet yours, you forget everything that just happened. All you can focus on is the softness and delicate warmth. After a moment, Cassie slowly moves back and you open your eyes to find her gazing at you contently. You both share the same gentle smile before she steps away. Sleep well, GundamGoku. As Cassie walks away, she spins on her heels, gives you a quick wave, and then turns back, heading further down the corridor. As you step into your quarters and head over to your bunk, the door hisses shut behind you. You stand there for a moment with a smile still on your face, before you let out a sigh and sit down. Staring at nothing in particular, you mull over the day's events and Cassie's words from earlier. Big day ahead of tomorrow. Huh? You sigh. We'll see. Alright, guys. April 23rd, planetary calendar 214. 4 days have passed since the JFS Gundog departed on its mission to rendezvous with the JFS O'Brien. In that time, her crew, including Lieutenant GundamGoku Starbullet, had fallen into the easy rhythm of life aboard the ship. Even as the Gundog enters the outer limits of Jovian space and is due to meet the O'Brien, there is little for the crew to do, and a general sense of routine A general sense of routine permeates the atmosphere. Outer Jovian space, aboard the Jovian patrol ship JFS Gundog. I think I should find a save. How do I save, actually? Is there like a... Okay. You just finished your last cup of coffee as a shrill series of electronic pipes begin sounding from your wristwatch. Electronic pips. Is there a save? Yeah, there's a save right there. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to actually call it there. Thank you guys so much for joining me. This is really fun. This is a really cool game. This is part 1 of Stories from Seoul, the Gundog. Thanks everyone for stopping by, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.